This video is all about connecting with your organization's advisor and leveraging that relationship to best set you and your peers up for success in this academic year. The role of the advisor, first and foremost, is an immediate point of contact for any questions or concerns that you, the rest of your executive board, or any general body members may have. Advisors serve as an advocate and a support system for your group. And an advisor is required to be a Northwestern faculty member or a paid Northwestern staff member. And for some folks, they are an advisor because it's part of their job description. But for most, this is an elective activity. This is something that they choose to do on their own. They want deeper student connection. Perhaps their values really align with the topic area of your organization. And SOA is surely really grateful for all of the advisors who volunteer their time to support you. Here are some benefits of a healthy advisor-student relationship. First, your advisor is connected to university partners. So if something comes up throughout the academic year, or perhaps you're planning a really big event, they might have folks in their Northwestern network who can support you in planning and executing that event. Your advisor can serve as an extra brain to navigate complex challenges. Again, they can be your first touch point if there are interpersonal issues that come up throughout the academic year. They can hopefully help you work through that. And of course, they can pull an SOA as needed. Your advisor may bring perspective of working with past student leaders in your group and in other groups. And what I mean by that is for advisors who have been longstanding in an organization and have seen the leadership change year after year, they might bring some really unique context about what things have worked in the past and what things can be improved upon for the future. Your advisor can also be a listening ear when things in the group really aren't going well. Hopefully, this doesn't happen, but they can be someone who you can bounce ideas off of as to, hey, here are some issues that we're having. What are your thoughts on how we can move forward? Your advisor may have expertise in an area related to your organization's purpose. Again, a lot of advisors will take on that responsibility because they really align with the mission, the vision, and the values of your organization. And so perhaps they can bring something really unique to the table that you might not have that type of expertise within the leadership of your organization. Your advisor sessions can be an occasion for reflection on the work of your organization. This is a beautiful opportunity to really think about why you're in your role and actually verbalize it to someone. Your advisor can certainly serve as a professional reference or recommendation writer. Again, the better you get to know your advisor, the more eager and willing they will be to support you as your leadership development ultimately ties with your career trajectory. Building rapport with your advisor is exceptionally important. That's why we suggest you schedule an introductory meeting with your executive board and your advisor all in the same room. So your advisor can put faces to names, everyone on your e-board can put faces to names, and you can actually start really getting to know each other so that as things come up throughout the academic year, your advisor actually knows who they're emailing or who they expect to show up in their office. This proactive engagement will allow you to feel that much more comfortable reaching out to your advisor with questions and needs. Sometimes it can feel a little uncomfortable if you are asking something of someone without even knowing them, but if you already have this rapport and relationship, your advisor is going to be that much more eager and willing to help you out. When thinking through that first advisor meeting, of course, you want to build that rapport. So, share your class year. Where are you from? How do you spend your time when you are not doing Northwestern related things? And ask your advisor to share those things as well. Share how you became involved in the org as a student leader or as a general body member at one time, and ask them to share how they became the advisor of the organization. Share any ideas or plans for change between the upcoming year and the past year. So, for example, if there was some big event that the organization did last year, but they're deciding to go a different route this year, talk that through with your advisor so they can understand what's happening and they can understand why. Refresh on the roles of the executive board. So outline who is doing what and at what time. So your advisor can have a really good understanding of how things are operating within your organization. Learn about how the advisor has been involved in the organization in the past. So if they did a lot for your organization, you're going to want to know that. If they weren't super involved with your organization, you're going to want to know that too. Define expectations around communication frequency, the method through which you communicate, and what information should always include the advisor. This is important because your advisor might have very specific expectations. For example, they only want you to email them during business hours, Monday through Friday. You might have different expectations around what that relationship might look like. Or perhaps the expectations are set that it's only business hours, Monday through Friday, but you have an event coming up on a Saturday and you think they will be involved with that. Talk that through so that you both can be on the exact same page. It will prevent a lot of confusion down the road. As for expectations around your relationship, you are required to meet with your advisor at least once per quarter. This does not have to be a super long-winded meeting if that's not your style, but you should be checking in just to say, hey, yep, everything is going smoothly, or hey, here are the bumps that we have come along in the past quarter, and here is where we could use your support. Again, continue to establish best ways of communicating. Perhaps you made those expectations in your first meeting, but it didn't work out in the way you thought for the first quarter. Readjust for the next quarter that's coming around. You should also be reviewing your constitution with your advisor just to check in and make sure that the org is actually operating as it says it is in that written document. Make sure that your advisor is added to your group's Cats on Campus roster if they are not already. And if you're having any trouble with that, by all means, just reach out to SOA and we'd be happy to assist. You should definitely reach out during the following times when you are having goals or mission statements edited and formed, when there are any major events that you are planning, or when your org is going through any particularly hard times. I strongly, strongly suggest if you can identify any issues that are coming to a head but not quite there, whether that be interpersonal or something related to a contract or finances, please, I urge you to let your advisor know before it explodes and gets out of control. You must keep your advisor updated during the leadership transition process so that they have the new points of contact moving forward. So, whenever that timeline happens for you, make sure that your advisor is kept in the loop every step of the way. As you are approaching the transition, make sure that they're informed. Once the transition happens, make sure that they have the new emails and that then introductory meeting can kick off again, and make sure that they have the proper access to the things that they need as an advisor from transition from point leader A to leader B. And finally, every advisor is required to complete the advisor acknowledgement form. This is a Google form that can be found through the general administration Canvas module, and it is also posted online. If your advisor communicates with you that they need to step down from the role, please contact SOA immediately to report that your advisor will be exiting the role. And SOA would be happy to help you find a new one, though it is the expectation that you are actively searching for a new one. What that looks like is asking other Northwestern faculty or staff to see if they have any interest in advising your organization. There is an advisor tab on the Student Orgs and Activities website, and you can just send them that link directly and say, hey, we're looking for a new person. Here's a little bit about our org. and here are the expectations from the SOA side of the house so that they can learn a little bit more about the role holistically. I do recommend if someone has interest, but they're not quite ready to sign up for the role, suggest that you have a meeting just to go over what the expectations would look like from your end, what your advisor relationship has looked like in the past, and of course, explain what your organization is and what they do throughout the academic year. SOA will add your group's name to a document that is sent out in the weekly newsletter to advisors. So that is the main contribution we really try to take to help you in securing a new advisor. And like I mentioned, all organizations must have an advisor. So you have 30 business days to find a new person before your org is frozen for the time being until you get that replacement. Thanks so much for watching. And with any questions, please reach out to SOA.